We welcome in Stars analyst, Emmy winner, and DuckTales enthusiast. It is Brien Rea. Good morning, sir.
I feel like every time I come on, the DuckTales aspect of my introduction gets more and more energy from you guys, which I'm okay with.
It depends.
I'm okay with that, but it gets more and more.
It depends on how much we've been singing the theme song right before we come on. That has
all-time theme song, baby.
100%. Now, we have a scene yesterday that we haven't gotten too much of this season. The Stars absolutely dominating shots on goal. Now, I know shots on goal on a day-to-day basis is not necessarily an end-all, be-all of who controlled the game. But, man, the Stars have been in a deficit for most of the year, and they absolutely dominated last night in that particular aspect. Why?
Well, I loved that Glenn Gulletson 2 days ago, not the day of the game, 2 days ago, talked at length about confidence with this team. And I know you guys love when I get into nerd stats.
I love it.
If you look at the Stars and what they were doing offensively, they basically have had the same number of chances, scoring chances per game, going back to the first half of the season and then to now when they've been in this really ugly slide. But the actual shooting percentage or the conversion of that has significantly dropped off. And a lot of times in hockey, a lot of that is confidence. You know, high-end skill players or high-end offensive players, they need confidence. It's like a three-point shooter in basketball. If he's not confident, he's going to go into a rut, and he's going to go into like an 0 for 8 or an 0 for 10 drought there. I think Dallas getting those 2 power play goals early in the game gave them an injection of confidence, and they started to feel things a little bit. And a lot of times when your power play offense starts humming, that can bleed over into your 5-on-5 offense. And so I think the fact that Dallas got some power play goals early, got the first couple goals of the game early, now all of a sudden they were in control of the game. And how many times over the stretch, as you guys just said, have the Dallas Stars looked in complete control of a hockey game?
Man,
you have not seen it a lot. So I think building that first period, it just sort of snowballed into a big night for Dallas. And then when they made it 4-0, I mean, for Boston, I'm not saying Boston pulled the chute, but you know when you're just not going to win a hockey game. You know when it's not your night. That was not the toughest third period that I had to deal with this year.
What intense.
Now you were just talking about it, and that's a cause and effect that we've kicked around a couple of different times. And I don't mean to discount the first period goals because obviously special teams vitally important both in the regular season and the playoffs. But it was the ensuing second period with the 5-on-5 goals that I felt like were a bigger deal. And I think I've been like putting more stock in those 5-on-5 goals as of late for the Stars.
I totally agree with you. There have been times, especially in this stretch, but there have been times this season where I have thought the Dallas Stars have had a little bit of trouble managing second periods for whatever reason. Sometimes it's dealing with the long change and the game opens up and it kind of pulls you out of what you want to do. Other times it's gotten away from them for whatever reason. But the way they handled that second period, and a lot of times in a hockey game, you know, if a team opens up a 2-0 lead, that third goal becomes crucial. You know, the cliche in hockey is it's a race to 3. The first team to get to 3 usually wins the game. And when Dallas made it 3-0, I felt like you saw a little bit of wind come out of the sails of the Bruins. And as that happened, you felt the gas pedal started to get pushed a little bit harder for the Dallas Stars. And so I agree with you. Their 5-on-5 play, I think if they can find a little bit more of that moving through this last 32-game stretch of the season, it's going to set them up really well for the playoff. We've seen so much on the power play. We want the power play to be a weapon, but we don't want the power play to be the weapon. So I agree with you. Those 5-on-5 goals in the second period were huge.
And I know we're not looking ahead or anything like that, but as a media person, clearly all I do is look ahead. Do you have to be that much better on 5-on-5? Because clearly this year Colorado has been incredible 5-on-5.
Just to handle the Colorado thing, I view that they are the best team in the NHL this year, and I think there is no disputing that. They are going to finish number one overall in the league. They are going to win the division. I think that is all said and done. If you look at NHL history, the team that finishes first overall in the regular season rarely goes on to win the Stanley Cup.
And they frequently lose in the second round.
Yes, I'm not saying that Colorado's automatically going to lose. I'm not saying the Dallas Stars don't have to worry about Colorado. I'm not saying any of that. I'm just saying let the Colorado regular season storyline be the regular season storyline. We'll worry about Colorado when it comes playoff time if Dallas has to cross that bridge. So in terms of the Dallas Stars and their 5-on-5 play, I look at it more from a playoff perspective. So the first half of this season, the Dallas Stars, they were averaging a little over 3 power plays a game. Since they came back from Christmas, that's dropped to just over 2 power plays per game. The rest of the league has figured out, don't flirt with the Dallas Stars power play. You're going to have a problem if you keep putting them on the power play. So if teams are not going to give Dallas the same power play opportunities that they were getting in the first half of the year, the Stars are going to have to find out another way to generate offense and seize control of hockey games, and that bleeds into their 5-on-5 game. And also, there's the old adage, when you get to the playoffs, do penalties get called as frequently? The data says no, it's kind of changing, but the bottom line is, in a playoff series, teams are going to try and take away the Dallas Stars' best weapon, and right now their best weapon this season has been their power play. So there will be more urgency as we move along here for Dallas to create more 5-on-5 scoring. It's something I think to watch here, say in the final 7 games heading into the Olympic break. And then if Jim Nill can make a move before the trade deadline, what kind of move does he make? And does that help Dallas with their 5-on-5 offense when we get into the stretch run of March and April?
Stars analyst and the Heights advocate, Brien Rea, joining us here on the show. the Mikko being out last night, did it not feel a little more like a complete team game with your star player not on the ice?
First of all, anybody who gets the Heights reference, I tip my cap to you. If you don't get it, the joke wasn't meant for you. If you do get it, the joke was totally meant for you.
Yep.
Okay,
yes.
And we all and we love Jamie Walters on this show. A buddy of mine texted me in the middle of that game and said, "Hey, is Mikko Rantanen the problem?" Totally as a joke.
Yeah.
Totally as a joke.
Yeah.
So, it does feel, I think, more like a complete team game, because when you take away a top 10 scorer and your best offensive player, you cannot have one person replace that. It has to be replaced. The whole is greater than the sum of its parts. The other part of that, you can't not notice Mikko Rantanen when he's not on the ice. He is just physically bigger than most players, especially forwards in the NHL. He is physically noticeable because the puck always seems to gravitate towards him, and he can do so many different things with it. So it almost looks like a complete team game, because your most noticeable flashy piece is not out there just drawing the spotlight to him. So I think that's kind of how it looks like a more complete team game, but losing Mikko Rantanen for a game, I mean, it's a totally different looking team. That's another factor. I think the reason the power play goals were so important is you got yourself a little bit of a cushion and a little bit of momentum by getting some power play tallies early on. So that being said, please, can we have Mikko Rantanen back in the lineup? Please get back. Well, get your vitamin C in you. Take your Tylenol. Get better, Mikko Rantanen, because the Dallas Stars are a better team when he is in the lineup.
And by saying vitamin C, you were advocating Rantanen be the captain, right? I read between the lines right there.
Nice.
What are you trying to do to me?
Oh, okay. All right.
Listen, no. Jim Nill has said, as long as he is the GM, Jamie Benn is going to be a member of the Dallas Stars. And after everything that Jamie Benn has done for this organization, there is nobody else that is going to be the captain of the Dallas Stars other than Jamie Benn while he is a member of this organization. And that is the way it should be.
Now, looking ahead, could the Stars just go ahead and have their own Winter Classic on Friday and just play that game outside?
I'm just happy it's going to feel like hockey season.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
You know, listen, I mean, we've got our toilet paper. We're stocked up. I just downloaded the entire first season of Man vs. Wild with Bear Grylls. So we feel pretty good on being able to handle whatever's coming this weekend.
All right. Well, then one more regular hockey question. Do I need to care or maybe even be concerned about Jason Robertson switching agents?
You know, I saw that, and no, you don't need to care.
Okay.
That's like I couldn't tell you anything about why that happened or what the decision was with that. You know, that's a player and agent thing. Mm-hmm. If you look at it from the Dallas Stars perspective, yes, Jason Robertson's in a contract year. Yes, the number's going to be high. Okay. He's a restricted free agent at the end of this season. Dallas has control. They control his rights. So the Stars do have a couple of options to play here, whether they want to re-sign the player, whether they would want to match a potential offer sheet that another team signed him to, whether they would want to go in a different direction if negotiations aren't going in a healthy way. But this is what kind of made things strong for Jim Nill when he signed Jason Robertson to this contract. It was to keep him with one more RFA year, but the qualifying, you got to push it back to when Jason Robertson signed this extension 3 years ago and where the salary cap in the market was at. So the numbers have really fluctuated and really exploded over the last year and a half, I would say. But when Jason Robertson signed this contract, there was an automatic qualifying offer set up that at the end of it, his next contract would start a little over $9 million. That's the qualifying offer. That's where the number starts. And he basically said, I will give you this 4-year contract, and you're going to have a great qualifying offer at the end of it to get paid. But I'm going to maintain one more year of control over your rights and keep you a restricted free agent. So the player got a little bit of a nice setup at the end of it, and the team was able to hold on to a little bit of control. And that's a great contract. There was something for both sides to gain from having that contract. Now, the numbers have completely inflated on what a player like Jason Robertson is worth on the market, and things shift there. But at the time of the contract being signed, both player and team got something they wanted out of that contract. And so Jim Nill, at the end of this contract, still has control over the player's rights. Where the future of Jason Robertson and the Dallas Stars go from here, that's between player and GM or player, new agent, and GM. But that's how I view and continue to view the Robertson contract situation of what could be at the end of this year.
Well, great stuff as always. A little controversial when suggesting Rantanen for captain, but we appreciate your time.
That wasn't me.
Nonetheless. I'm just kidding, Brien. Thank you.
I will not be dragged into your reindeer games.
Thank you very much for the time, good sir. We'll catch up with you again soon.
Stay warm, everybody.